Hey everyone, and welcome to Devil is in the Detail. On today's episode, it's a special episode. I have a very special guest with me today. It's Pan, the organizer.
And the organizer.
And today we're just going to ask Pan a few questions, what he likes to do with his detailing, and pick his brain. He's been doing it for 5 years now on YouTube.
Yep, that's right.
So yeah, we're going to pick his brain and see what we can gain.
Thanks for having me on the show, Ben. I appreciate it. You're from the UK, right? Where
Yes,
exactly
the UK.
in the UK?
Nottingham.
Nottingham. Okay. So I'm from Montreal, Canada. I put this nice Montreal skyline background here in the backdrop. It's still a bit chilly for us. Like it's still like 10 degrees Celsius. We had snow just 2 weeks ago. Springtime is not here yet fully. And for people who love detailing, man, we miss that nice weather. What about you guys?
Yeah, our weather's been a bit hot and cold. So some days you'll get really nice weather and you think, oh, great, I can wash the car on the weekend. And then weekend comes and it rains.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still not there. But you have an amazing garage. We've seen that from your channel. So you've got no excuse. You can do yours at any time.
Absolutely. All year round. That was the whole basis behind it. So it's a brand new home, and I had a custom garage built specifically to allow me to enjoy my passion, which is car detailing. So fully insulated. There's a heat pump as well, so it's heated and cooled all year round. We have a sealant on the floor that's watertight, 2 feet up to the on the walls as well, so it makes it like a watertight basin. There are 2 floor drains as well. I have a dehumidifier. I have kitchen and bathroom paint. I have gypsum that's made to resist mold and moisture like you would have in a bathroom. So basically the whole thing was set up. And recently I also added some acoustic panels in the ceiling because it's a pretty big garage, 24 feet,
it's massive.
24 feet with 13 feet ceilings. So now we have acoustic panels, so the audio should be less echoey as well. So it's the main studio, right, for my YouTube channel. So we set it up to be as efficient as it possibly can.
Let's talk about your Porsche, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Amazing car. Love the color. Specs great.
A life's dream.
I love Porsches as much as the next man.
Yeah, I saw your last video was on a GTS 911.
Yeah, that was a nice car. Did you think of any other car other than the Porsche? Yeah. Or was it only going to be Porsche?
Were a lot of contenders, some that I test drove and some that just weren't available, but they were still on my list. My final choice obviously was the 2021 Porsche 911 Turbo S. That was a dream car ever since I was a young child. You know, the posters you have on your walls in your bedroom. The 911 Turbo was always the car for me. So I kind of made that happen. But the other contenders were the Lamborghini Urus. Okay. So the SUV, the Aston Martin DBX, which I find is an absolutely breathtaking SUV. The Porsche Cayenne Turbo S e-hybrid. So those were pretty much the top 4, if I remember. Was there any other contender? No, that was pretty much it. Yeah, and the obviously the 911.
Yeah. What would money no object? What would be your dream car? You could just pick.
Well, this one was definitely top 3.
Okay.
And then after that, because of the weather, I needed all-wheel drive because I drive my cars all year round. So they're a daily driver. There's no garage queen or trailer queen in my home. Cars are meant to be driven and enjoyed, especially the 911. So I needed the all-wheel drive. But if I was in a warmer climate or needed a car just for the weekend, probably one of the new Ferraris that has 1,000 horsepower, the hybrid one. What is it called? The SF90 Stradale, I think. That or a McLaren 765 LT. So that would probably be like 2 hypercars.
Fair enough. Hypercar dream world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Maybe one day in my life, hopefully. I'm always working hard and just trying to make the best moves possible for my own life and being very, very wise with the way I invest my money as well in the financial markets.
Yeah.
And just always trying to make sure the priorities are set, but also you have to enjoy life. We have one life to live. And so for me, the dream cars were always part of my life and always a next goal. That's one way I keep my dreams going, is set myself these crazy goals, and maybe one day you'll attain them. But I think it's important for people to have dreams to look up to. I think it at least for me, this is what drives me in life.
Yeah.
I always have new goals to achieve, new heights to go up to. And yeah.
No, it is an amazing car, and it was good that you did an exit interview on your old car. I've not seen that before. I thought that was
Well,
quite
I know
interesting.
it was actually, I gave credit where credit is due. So Matt Mormon from Obsessed Garage, a good friend of mine,
Yep, another
he
good
has a YouTube
channel.
channel, and he also often does that because he like I think right now he has 4 or 5 cars in his garage. So so he buys and sells and likes to
Okay.
tune cars, and then when he lets them go, he does what he calls the exit interview. So basically, a final drive and impressions of his vehicle. So I know my viewers wanted to see my driving impressions for that BMW M550i, which was a beast of a
It
car as
was a
well.
beast of a car.
Tremendous
I
motor.
love
And
BMWs.
so yeah, I did that, and it was quite popular. So I'll be doing the same for the 911 soon. A couple of crazy stuff for that video plan, but yeah, I want to give everybody wants to know my driving impressions, obviously. So I'm still breaking the engine in right now, and after that's done, I'll be able to do stuff like the launch control and a bunch of awesome things as well. So yeah, a lot to look forward to on the channel.
Would you take it on a track day or
Yeah,
some?
yeah.
Yeah.
I like drag racing my cars, so I'm more of a straight
Oh,
line
nice.
acceleration kind of guy. I don't think I'll be doing road circuits though. I'm just not a pilot or somebody
Yeah.
that wants to risk damaging that kind of a vehicle. So for me, I'll stick to drag racing. That's because I did a video for my BMW
Okay.
at the drag strip on my channel. So the same thing for the I like the 8th mile, the quarter-mile, just raw acceleration. But doing circuits and twisties and corners, I'll do that on driving roads at normal speed limits.
Yeah,
But
I
on a
understand
track,
because you make one
I don't know. I
mistake
don't
on
I
that
don't want to
track
risk
and
that exactly.
you're getting
Those
the
are
bus home.
expensive toys to damage.
Yeah, you don't want to be getting the bus home and explaining that one to the missus.
Exactly.
Where's your
Plus
car?
the
Funny
insurance, at least where
story.
I live, don't allow that. So
Oh, they
car
don't.
insurance, no.
Can you
You're
not
not
get?
supposed to bring your car to the track. So you're fully responsible if anything happens.
You can't even get track insurance.
Not to my knowledge, at least not
Oh,
with the
wow.
insurer I have.
Okay.
Everything
Okay.
gets
Fair enough.
complicated when you're to supercar territory.
Yeah.
You need one insurance and then another insurance, and I think I have like 3 different insurances on this vehicle now. It's just mind-boggling.
No, I can imagine. Yeah, because the car costs a certain amount.
Yeah,
People want that car. It's a desirable car.
yeah.
Yeah, and the insurance company want to make sure that it's insured, it's kept safe, under lock and key, and it's no
Not
one can
only
just
that, but
get their
I
hands on
feel
it.
everybody wants to have their hand in your pocket when it comes to that kind of a vehicle. It's like the government wants more money, the insurance
Oh yeah,
wants more money because
yeah.
the license plate costs more. And here we have laws as well in Quebec for the how big your engine is and all that kind of stuff. So you get the luxury tax as well. So you get tax
Luxury
after
tax.
tax after money after. So it's not just purchasing the vehiple. There's a lot
It's
of side
everything else
costs,
that
and I
goes
might
with
do a
it.
video on that. Like what is the actual cost of ownership of a supercar? So it
That is a
gets
good idea
crazy. Yeah.
because if you think about it, if you look at say a Bugatti Veyron,
Yeah.
you look at the market and you go, okay, it's about £1.5 million. I don't know what that would be in dollars. Let's say $2 million.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, that's the price of the car. Fine, I can afford that. But the maintenance cost could easily be a couple of $100,000 without even driving it.
Yeah.
Then you've got to store it. You've got to have the security. So yeah, I think that would be a good future video to go, okay, this is my Porsche. This was and you could just give the recommended retail price. You haven't got to give away everything. And you can go, this is what Porsche recommend a service would cost. And
Yeah.
you just go, right, it's not just about spending, say, $100,000 on the car. You've then got to spend another 20,000 a year or something, to keep it with insured and taxed and
And it gets
secure and
crazier with
tracker.
hypercars. I hope I
Yeah.
won't massacre his name, but there's this channel that I follow. It's called Manny Koshkubin, I think. He's a real estate mogul. I'm pretty sure he's a billionaire by now, but he
Yeah,
has
I've
a
seen him.
huge car collection. And he
Massive.
has a lot of Bugattis. And one thing he was mentioning, like on a yearly basis, I think, or every 2 years, he changes his tires. That's 25,000 US dollars. An oil change on his Veyron is like 20 grand. So
It's not
just
cheap.
that alone. So hypercars are even another level. It's just insane.
You can buy a car for that oil change.
Yeah, exactly.
And a nice one. You could buy
Yeah.
you could find a nice used car for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Pan the Organizer, that's your name on your channel.
Yes.
How did you come up with that name?
That's a good question. So, well, Pan is a diminutive of my full name, my first name, which is Pandelis. It's of Greek origin. So although I'm Canadian, my dad is Greek. So immigrated to Canada in the 70s and he married a French-Canadian woman. So that's why I don't really look Greek. I take that from my mom's side. So I take the height as well. I'm 6'3" tall, or 1.91 m. And that's from my mom's side. All the men were like over 6 feet.
So, yeah.
My dad is shorter. He's like 5'7". He's super dark tanned and he has black hair. So completely different. But so yeah, Pandelis is my first name. My friends and family call me Pan. And why the organizer? Well, it's my girlfriend. I'll give her credit. She actually came up with that when I was planning on making a YouTube channel. We were having supper at a restaurant one night, and she was like, listen, I've never seen a guy spend like 10 to 12 hours or 15 hours on a car without even taking a break to go and pee. And so, and I know you love to organize everything in your life, your budget, your workspace, your living space. You like everything nice and tidy and clean, and your investments, and you're always organizing everything. Like, you should start a channel and call yourself Pan the Organizer. So I found that was cool, and it just stuck with me, and it really resonates with the kind of person I am. And that's why I always say as well in the end of my videos, people find it funny, is for them who don't know what it means. But when I say keep it tight, keep it clean, it means keep everything nice and tidy and nice and clean. Because I am a proponent of, if you have a clean environment that you're working in, and you have thoughts in your head that are well organized and clean, you are bound to be more successful, guaranteed.
More
productive, exactly. So that's one key thing for me has always been cleanliness in everything that I do. My home, the best compliment I have when people come over, they look around and they're like, does somebody actually live here? So I'm like, thank you. That is the biggest compliment you can give me. So everything is always spick and span, and I just like having clean working environments and living spaces to be in. So that's where Pan the Organizer comes from. It's like organizing everything around me.
It's good. It's different. There's no one else that has anything that I've seen is even remotely similar.
Thank you.
So it's quite nice, because there are quite a few channels that have like the word detail or detailing,
yes,
and that type of thing. And it's you got to try and set yourself out from other people, and it's unique, quite hard.
And I also have a lot of passion. So although probably 90 to 95% of my content is detailing, I still love gadgets, electronics, computers, home networking stuff, custom home theaters. So other things that I share, hi-fi systems. So any passion that I have, even some vlogging trips that I've done, because I love traveling. So I just share basically whatever I enjoy in life, because I know usually people who love detailing, they also love other stuff on the side, and a lot of viewers share the same kind of similarities there. So
why did you decide to go onto YouTube and share your passion? And when you started doing it, did you think, oh no, maybe this is a mistake and I shouldn't be doing this? Or did you just like, oh, I'm just going to do it, and if it works, it works. If it all goes horribly wrong, at least I tried.
Exactly. Well, it all started when I was a very young kid. So late teens, no, mid-teens. So when I was 16, I started detailing cars on the side for car forums, for people around my house or the family, people on the street. And then it grew on and grew on. So I'm 40 now. It's 24 years that I've been enjoying this passion and hobby and detailing and all that stuff. And eventually it got to a point where in the early 2010s, so 2010, 2011, I saw guys with channels like Larry from Ammo NYC, a buddy of mine from New York. He has the biggest car detailing channel on YouTube. So, and I was following stuff like Auto Geek as well, because I used to, all my life, I purchased stuff from those places, and I spent tens of thousands of dollars on products and equipment and all that stuff.
It's hundreds of dollars, because we don't tell our wives how much things actually cost.
Exactly. No, but I share all that with my girlfriend. She knows everything, and she's a good supporter. So at least I don't have the wife that nags about, oh, here's more of your stuff. We had fun in one of my videos, and one of the intro, she looked at me with her eyes rolling when I got a UPS delivery, but she actually supports me through all that. So yeah, it just got to a point where I was following so many of these channels. And again, during that talk at the restaurant, she told me, listen, you're clearly beyond passionate, and it's beyond OCD at this point. It's an obsession. So I see you spending those 12, 15 hours on end in a garage. You never take a break, not even to eat. And I see the smile you have, and I see how you forget about your daily woes or any issues that you have in your normal life when you detail. Why don't you share that on YouTube? I see you looking at all these other YouTubers every day, and you do as good of a job. And you have a quirky personality, and something that separates you is you speak 3 languages. So you can even do it in English and French. And try that. So I started doing YouTube. I gave myself a kick in the butt. So 27th of April 2016 was my first video ever. And I was sharing at that point, it was not only detailing. So I was doing a few different things. But I noticed that the detailing videos were really, really going strong, and they were driving a lot of views and traffic very early on. And so I think naturally it just told me, you know what, you're so passionate about this and people resonate with that, and they can relate to your passion. And it was just a cool exchange with people in the community. So in the comment section, as you know, I still reply to this day to almost every single comment on YouTube. So I can spend 3 to 4 hours every day just replying personally,
Just
which is
doing
very
that.
rare for channels over 250,000
Yeah.
subscribers. So I think we surpassed 620,000 subscribers recently and
Yep.
72 million views, these crazy numbers.
That's insane.
So clearly, I mean, there's a passion out there and people relate to that. And I think the community we built, the cool thing about it is that on my channel or on detailing channels, you don't feel judged by others. So we all know that look you get from neighbors when you spend 5-6 hours washing your car outside and they're looking at you, this guy's crazy. But all of a sudden now we have this community of people
where everyone's the
that same passion. Exactly. We never judge each other. Actually, we encourage each other. We share tips and tricks. And so it's this happy place where you don't feel bullied or judged, where you can share your passion freely and learn new things and be entertained along the way. So I'm like very grateful for YouTube to provide me with this platform to share this crazy passion that I have.
And I think that's one of the great things about YouTube and the detailing community is that people have their own view on how to do something, whether it be polishing or cleaning a certain type of finish on a wheel. Everyone has their own quirky way that works for them.
Exactly.
And they'll share that and you go, oh, actually, yeah, I live in a similar climate to you. That might work better than what I'm currently doing. And then you try it and go, oh yeah, it does. Or you try it and go, oh no, it doesn't. I'll just say what I'm doing. But at least you've had
very
a different,
good point, by the
different
way,
view. You've had a different view on something.
Exactly, because some people get frustrated. Sometimes they're like, listen, this YouTuber tried this product and oh man, he said it lasted 6 months. And for me, it barely lasted 3 months. Or the opposite, like it can work fantastically well for some of my YouTube friends. I'm friends with so many of the channels. And so some of them live in warmer climates and they'll have products that they'll say, hey, it lasted like 11 months for me. And then I test it in my crazy conditions with salts and road salts and the winter and all that kind of crap. And it'll barely last 6 months for me. I don't get mad though, because I'm not that kind of guy. And I realize that there are many variables.
There's more than you can
retailer's experience, the application conditions, which weather you live in. Is it a daily driven car? Is it a garage kept car? Is it exposed to the elements all day? So I think we need to educate people that there are different conditions and variables that play a huge role in durability. And durability is not the only component you should use to judge a product. There's price, there's value, there's performance, there's hydrophobic properties, UV protection, gloss, slickness. If you like the brand or not. Some people just like having one collection of the same brand because they enjoy the brand. Others like me like to have many different products from many different brands. So for me, it's like, you know what, guys, do your own testing, enjoy it, take the videos with a grain of salt, watch multiple sources to make your own opinion, and then purchase the product and try it for yourself and see what works best for you. So in the end, you have to enjoy the product. And that's the fun part for me. Still to this day, I try hundreds of products every year. It's nuts. And I've done that throughout my 24 years of detailing. I used to remember purchasing a lot of products and some of them were junk. I toss them away and move on to the next one. And it's part of the fun, right? Receiving a package, especially now today, either from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, DHL, whatever. When they knock on your door, there's this kid in a candy store moment where you're getting this package. Can't wait to open it. I want to like throw myself in the garage and start testing it right away and see, does it work for me? Does it live up to the hype or does it live up to my expectations? And there's a huge fun part of testing new products out and discovering new brands as well. It seems in the detailing scene now, especially in the past 2 years, every week or so, there's a new product or a new brand popping up. And there's a lot of competition, which drives the companies to not sit on their laurels. They have to keep innovation going. So the end consumer benefits from this because in the end, we get better products, right? Better technologies.
Better range of products as well. You know, and sometimes you get a company, I can't think of any top of my head, but you get a company that'll bring out a product and it might not quite work how they expected, and then that product disappears. But at least they get the feedback.
Yes.
You know, so they can go, okay, that didn't work. Where did we go wrong? Oh, well, we can improve it and we can make it better.
And especially now with what's fun about the YouTube channels is you have access to the community comments. So I noticed that a lot of companies watch the comments in my comment section and they'll read that. So they'll see the feedback. Or sometimes they have a product that they don't have in their lineup and the viewers are like, we want this, we need this, we like this brand. Can they come up with that? And they're like, oh, there we go. That's what we're missing. So we have feedback now from real world people using their products. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's good because it only helps us as a car detailing community. We
Absolutely.
can
20
try and
years ago,
steer
we didn't
the. Oh
have
no,
that
you had
range
no
of
say.
quality
No,
products that we have today. Like
no.
carnauba waxes were a mess to apply, and then they came out with paint sealants, and then the technology evolved to the things that we know today. And so, yeah, without innovation and without new companies coming out, well, we'd probably still be stuck with the cheap hard shell waxes we had like 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, well, I don't remember those.
Okay.
I'm a couple of years younger than you, but I don't remember that. Like for me, I always like to kept my car like tidy, but
Yeah.
I never really got into detailing in a big way. Probably about 10 years ago, and again, it was like I did one thing. Oh, that looks nice, and I got a couple of products, and it like builds and builds and builds. And then when YouTube was a big thing, you go onto YouTube and you just start watching detailing videos like yours, and as you mentioned earlier, Larry, people like that, and you go, "Oh, hang on, this is interesting. What's going on here?" And you start watching, like going through their back catalog, and you're like,
Yes.
"Oh, hang on, yeah,
Going down the rabbit hole, eh? You
oh
get
yeah,
the detailing bug and you binge watch. And I still
for
do to this day, although I produce YouTube videos,
you still
I
watch other
binge
people's."
watch other channels all the time, every day. So just to keep up to date with what's going on, if there's a new product that I haven't maybe seen, or a new channel that's up and starting, I like to help encourage, as you know, smaller channels as
Yeah,
well. And I like to, because I like to give back. So I kind of act the way I would have liked bigger channels to act towards me when I first started. So now that I'm at this point, I like to give back to the community.
so yeah, you're right, and people can get together, and if the bigger channels like your channel, you have, I suppose, the power in a sense, the opportunity really to
Yeah.
interact with, as you said, you'd spend like 3 hours a day replying to people,
Yeah.
and even just replying to someone and saying thank you kind of like can make someone's day in a sense, like, oh, that's nice, he responded, rather
Yeah.
than just like, oh, well, I met I watch every video and I comment, and no one ever like even just gives it a tick, or that's
Yeah.
quite nice, you're giving back. And then to do this, I am so grateful for you to do this.
My pleasure.
I thought, all right, I'm going to ask him, but he's probably going to say I'm busy. He might say, oh, thanks, but I can't, or something. But when you said, oh, sure, we can set something up, I'll let you know when I'm free, I almost fell off my chair. I was like, wow, I felt so excited. I was so happy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always try to make free time, although I have a crazy busy schedule. For me, it's like if I can give back to others in the community, and I know you've supported my channel for so long. I see you in the comments and you're there, and so I'm like, you know what, let's do this. It's always fun to meet new people, and now I get to see you and talk to you, so I put a face and personality behind the YouTube comments now. So it's just cool building relationships with people, brands, your community as well, all the viewers. I find myself appreciating the fact that I can exchange with these people as well. And I still learn tips and tricks from a bunch of people as well, because there's not only weekend warriors or the average Joe that doesn't know maybe as much as detailing. They want to learn tips and tricks on my videos, but I also have a lot of professional detailers that watch my channel. And so often they'll just share tips and tricks, and listen, you always learn new things. I had Ivan, as you know, Ivan LaCroix, a friend of mine, come over to detail my Porsche in that latest video.
Yeah.
And every time I see the guy, I still learn things. He has over 4 decades of experience in the detailing community,
Wow.
in the detailing world. So like you can imagine, this guy's just a treasure box
Yeah,
filled
he must have
with
seen
knowledge
it
and info. So I absorb that like a sponge. I try and learn as much as I can. And he's just a cool, genuine guy that's truly passionate. And yeah, he has a bunch of knowledge. So you never stop learning. If you think you've learned everything, then there's something deeply wrong.
Oh no.
And
Yeah,
you've
I totally
plateaued.
agree.
That's not good. You always
No.
got to keep learning. There's always new things to learn, especially in the detailing world.
That reminds me, I was with my friend who details professionally, and we went to see one of our friends pick up his new car. And speaking about like detailers and their perspective on things, he picked up a new Aston Martin. It was I think it was a couple of years ago now, so it's way before the pandemic.
Okay.
And it was a really sunny day, so the car came out, and it was this blue, really vibrant blue, and so it was really beautiful. Everyone that was there for this guy's like pickup, and he recorded it for his channel, and everyone was there, and we looked at him and went, oh, that's a really beautiful car. And then within about 10 seconds, we was like, right, detail caps on. How would you PPF this? Right, well, this has got a curve here. And
for sure,
everyone else is looking at it going, oh, look at those wheels, that's amazing. Oh, yeah, that's really great. And I'm there like, That's got a funny curve and you got a straight line there. So you need to do that and you have to bend it in. And oh, how far is the PPF going? You know, would you have to lift this up? You don't want that edge where it doesn't quite meet the paint. You have to go over it. It was really funny to just go after the whole thing. Go, actually, I didn't even really look around the car. I just literally looked at it as if like, boom, that's how we would approach it. It was quite funny.
I can relate to that because every time I pick up a new car, and same thing happened with the Porsche, I'm super excited for the moment.
Yeah.
But as soon as they reveal it, when they lift the cover, yes, I saw it. Yes, I was excited. It was like my dream car and it was beautiful. But then my detailing brain as well, when I like, okay, this is not better than new. I can see this and that. There's this little defect. Oh, okay. Did they put a tire? I told them not to put a tire dressing. I told them not to put any wax or sealant on the paint. What am I going to do? What are the steps? As soon as I bring it home, I have to work on it the next day, right? And that's what happened.
Yeah.
So the OCD kicks in and you're like, okay, and now after you detail it, then it's properly detailed. And I did a video on that recently as well. Should you detail a brand new car? Because a lot of people have that question, right? People think, oh, you bought a new car. This is as good as it will get. It's the total opposite. No. This is not good. And before you fully detail it, that's when it gets better. And then you enhance and protect all the surfaces. And from then on, it will look great. But from the dealership itself, usually it's not that great.
Well, yeah, and they're limited. They can only do so much.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not as if they don't want to spend 50 hours getting it 100%. They can only do so much.
Exactly.
And not everyone's as obsessed as us.
Exactly. So we try to spread the obsession and the detailing bug as well. I want to have as much people excited about detailing than me. And I think COVID was a great opportunity for that. Like I saw tremendous growth in the past year because all of a sudden what I realized was that because there was some industries on YouTube that tanked during COVID, but the detailing industry, I think, did very well. Because people had a lot more time now at home.
Yeah.
So to do tasks that normally you wouldn't do, right? Spend your day washing, cleaning, decontaminating, protecting, waxing your car, all that kind of stuff, doing the interior. You always push that back because you have other things in life and people are busy. I understand that. And they have busy lives. But now all of a sudden you had a lot of free time on your hands and you started searching for how do I disinfect an interior? How do I clean the interior? How do I do the exterior? What more can I do? Then you get the bug and you start binge watching.
Yeah,
so it was
4 a.m. in the morning, you realize.
A good year for detailing channels in general.
Yeah, no, it was the same thing in the UK. It happened. There was more people who started washing their cars.
Yeah.
And just spending, I think longer to do it. They had a lot of the local car washes where people would go, you know, the old like $5 thing that they weren't allowed to be open. So more people did it from home.
Exactly.
Lots of brands saw it upsale. So yeah.
And you feel good about yourself personally when you do things on your own and you learn how to do tasks and you accomplish them and you look at the end result, you're like, hey, I did that. So that's what I want to convey is you guys, we do these tutorials and product reviews and how-tos and all that kind of stuff to kind of give the information, the tips and the tricks so that people can emulate and duplicate that at home and enjoy detailing their own cars. And I think when you accomplish that, at the end of the day, you go in your garage and you look at your freshly detailed car and you realize that you did that on your own. It's pretty cool.
But also a freshly cleaned car goes a bit faster.
I agree. It always feels like
it always does
better, right? There's a feeling of pride and joy. And somehow you feel that the vehicle drives a lot better. It's a good feeling to have for sure.
No, totally agree. I'm just going to go to some questions.
Yep. I think some of your viewers had some questions.
Yeah. So what drove you to your passion into detailing, not as a business, but as a product tester and developer?
Well, I don't develop products, but
you test a lot of products.
Yeah, and that was since I was a young kid. So it's twofold. There's one thing that I have for viewers who follow my channel. I have a background in molecular biology and biochemistry. So in the medical research field, and I absolutely love diving into obviously chemistry and product technology and that kind of stuff ever since I was a young kid or a teen, because I studied in science. And so I always had an attraction to that. And when I got my first car, my parents bought me my first car. Actually, after that, I purchased my own vehicles. But when they bought me my first car, it was kind of a gift for my high school graduation to have that independence to drive around. It was a small Toyota. And so my dad gave me a bucket, a sponge, and some dishwashing liquid. And so immediately now my science brain goes on like, that's the stuff my mom uses to clean dishes in the kitchen. That's a heavy degreaser. And a sponge doesn't make any sense. So I'm a type of person or a personality who likes to dig into things and trying to learn everything there is to know about something. So I went on, back then YouTube didn't exist. So because we're
Yeah.
talking now early 2000s, sorry, late 1990s. And so we had a few car detailing forums and a few blogs online that gave kind of tips and tricks on how to properly do things and in the detailing world. And I got the bug immediately. So I got my first 2 buckets and my first wash mitts and first terry towels. Back then, microfibers weren't a thing yet. So the first jar of wax or a few jars of waxes, and then those became dozens of jars of waxes. And I just wanted to try and find, always pursuing which one is the best one, right? So for my environment, my conditions, try and figure out which ones gave the best results, which ones were the easiest to use, how long they'd last, were they slick and glossy and all that kind of stuff. So I think it ballooned into a thing because I become obsessive and compulsive with these kinds of things. So I just want to learn everything there is to know about it. And then all of a sudden YouTube came along. So that was a complete other game-changing experience, because now you could see your favorite detailers do the job and learn directly by watching somebody do the work itself. And so, I think it's twofold. So the background in studies, which helped me understand as well the chemistry behind things. I have the chance now with the size of the channel to be able to discuss with a lot of chemists in the industry, because they're specific to that.
Yeah.
And to get to learn, kind of pick their brains on how things work, how they test for products, how they come out with durability claims and that kind of thing. And just my passionate nature in general as well. So that's how that happened. Hopefully
It's interesting.
That answers the question.
It's interesting about like durability. You know, when products come out and it says this will last for 12 months.
Yes.
I always think, well, they must have spent a couple of years doing the product, because surely they would have tested it.
No.
No? Okay.
No, that's not how it works. Because imagine a product they claim that says lasts 7 years. If they would have to wait 7 years to get to the point before the product launches,
fair enough,
then the entire world has had a time to change and new products come out. And so, and the same thing for durability. The ones who wait for real world tests or those panel tests, or I'm like, guys, don't wait too much. Because if that product says to last 5 years and you wait for the person to test it for 5 years before you actually purchase it, the technology will have evolved so much that will be obsolete. So at one point you have to make a decision and go with your gut feeling and test it for yourself. But my understanding, because there's no standards for testing, but talking to all these companies, they usually use a couple of things. So one of them is the testing method for washing. So they'll guesstimate. So a person washes their car, say twice a month. Every 12 months, that's 24 times a year, multiplied by 5 times. So that gives you, I don't know how many, 72, how many washes. And so they'll quickly do 72 washes on that panel. They'll do some drag testing as well for the endurance, for the MIT, the friction tests. They'll do a few chemical resistance tests more and more now, because they see a bunch of YouTubers doing crazy things with
I've seen a few,
alkaline or acid-based pH. I'm guilty. I've done a few of those on my channel as well. Although I always say I only take those for personal entertainment, because nobody would submit their cars to such an onslaught of different chemicals. You would never do that to a vehicle. No. So like, it resists an acid-based wheel cleaner. Okay, but would you ever do that on your paint? No, you wouldn't.
No.
So it's just to have a bit of entertainment and kind of
fun,
separate the better ones from the worst ones. So yeah, they have those methods to kind of guesstimate how long a product would last. But once again, the thing they say is like, Pan, they have to realize also that it depends on many variables. We don't know the experience level of the person experiencing it. We don't know if they're following the instructions to a T, because a lot of people, unfortunately, don't like to read the labels, and they'll go freestyle. And well, sometimes you need to follow the instructions to a T. Conditions as far as where you live, the climate. If you're near a desert, if you're near salty water near the sea, if you live in a cold climate like us in Canada, if you live in a hot environment like California, so that dramatically affects durability as well. So you cannot expect to get max durability if you live in a climate like mine, and you have to understand that. So there are many factors, and claims are very hard to get exactly right. So I always say,
gives you an indication, I think,
is if you see durability claims, don't take it for the exact durability. So for example, if you see a 3-year coating and a 7-year coating, what that should tell you is not that one will last exactly 3 years and the other one exactly 7 years because of the variables, but it should at least tell you that one should be longer lasting than the other. So take it as a general guideline of an overall expectancy of durability, more than the exact time in history that it's going to last or not. So when you change your perception on that and you get to realize, you know what, they're right. Yeah, there are so many variables that they can control.
No,
So they
agreed.
can say as much as they want with their lab tests, how much it lasts. You'll never know until you really try it. So that's the way the world turns.
Yeah, there's so many variables, as you said, like is you keep it in the garage every day, do you use it every
Yeah,
day, the road
exactly.
conditions where you live. Like I live in a climate that's, you know, it changes a lot, but it's not doesn't get as cold as like where you are. So there's those big,
but you
big
get a lot of rain,
differences.
right, in the UK?
Everyone says that. Everyone says
Is it
that.
true or not?
It feels true. People
Every time
yeah.
I hear YouTubers from the UK, because I got my buddy Joe, Car Cleaning Guru, or John from Forensic Detailing Channel,
John,
it seems like it's always raining or it's always humid, and very rare are the days where it's perfect, right?
Yeah, there's a guy I really like following on Instagram and YouTube, Paul Dolden. He always jokes when the sun's out and he's washing the car. He's like, "Oh, it's the one of the days the sun's out. You know, we only get it 3 times a year." It's like, yeah, that is the perception. It's quite funny because it's mostly true. It's mostly true. You know, as a stereotype, I suppose it's mostly true.
Well, same goes for us. I mean,
yeah,
we're always in the snow, and 6 months out of the year, that's pretty much accurate. It's horrible, disgusting weather for people who love detailing. So at least 6 months of the year, it's fine. But then we have the dramatic increases and reduction in temperature. We can go from a minus 35 degrees Celsius winter to plus 35 summer. So that's 70 degrees.
That's a massive difference.
That's huge. So imagine the beating protection takes on a vehicle. It's insane. Yeah. And it can go up to plus 40, minus 40 in some regions in Canada. So it's insane.
That is crazy. Okay. So since the pandemic, have you seen a shift of interior products that are more antiviral, antibacterial? And which ones would you recommend as like a go-to product?
Absolutely. It seems now every company has realized that it's important to disinfect the interior, or at least something that prevents microbes and germs and viruses from spreading. And yeah, there are a lot of good ones out there. I think I did a video on how you can do your own DIY solution. Essentially, what the EPA in the US recommends is a 70% isopropyl alcohol mix. And you can rubbing alcohol, basically, you put that in a spray bottle. Some there are readily available, or you can do your own dilution. So that takes care of COVID itself. You have to be careful though on which surfaces. So a lot of car companies came out. I know Adams Polishes has a very good one that I use. Turtle Wax has their own cleaner disinfectant. Unfortunately, we don't get that in Canada. There's something about regulations of going back and forth with the border. But they have a very good one that a few of my buddies used, and they absolutely love it. So basically look for your favorite car detailing products company, and I'm pretty sure they'll have one out, cleaner and disinfectant for sure at this point. So yes, definitely. I look at PNS, for example, PNS sales in the US, makers of Bean Maker that everybody knows. Well, they came out with their hand sanitizer and interior cleaner. And so pretty much all the companies I can think of right now, at least the big players, came out with their own version, and they're all essentially not the same, but they have the same variation. Goal is to be safe on your interior surfaces, because they're automotive detailing products companies, so they know what's safe, and usually in spray form, so very, very easy to apply. Just follow the instructions, of course, because some need a dwell time of like you slap it on there and you let it evaporate naturally. Some it's a spray and wipe immediately, but follow the instructions and do it often, and you'll be fine and safe. Yeah, definitely. There's been a shift. Everybody makes those products now.
Here's a good one. Do you rinse then snow foam, or snow foam then rinse? There is no right answer to
no,
this.
exactly, guys.
You'll say one thing and someone
debate. So personally, over the years, I've experimented, because it's always what works best for you, right? So I like to do trial and error and experiment. For me, I always like pre-rinsing first to get the majority of loose dirt and contamination off and debris, and then move on to foaming, and then rinsing, and then washing the vehicle. Some like to directly foam on a dry surface. For me, it doesn't work in my world, because the crap we have here in Canada, I like to kind of remove that beforehand. What I can sometimes do as well is do a pre-rinse. So use a rinseless wash, kind of like O&R or McKee's 37 N914 rinseless wash, to spray on the vehicle. Let that dwell a few minutes or a few seconds. It's going to help encapsulate that dirt and act as a lubricant before you pressure wash the surface. So that's one thing that Ivan LaCroix, by the way, taught me. He's a big proponent of rinseless washes. And so that can be a thing too. But yeah, I'm always going to at least rinse or pre-treat before I go ahead and foam the vehicle. But
There you
again,
go,
there's no right
folks.
or
You
wrong.
heard it here
Whatever
first.
works
That's what
for you,
Pan
as long as
says.
you use safe drying and washing methods, that is important. So what you want to do is reduce the chances of swirls and scratches on the paintwork. So the washing phase and the drying phase is usually where you get 90% of the love marks or the marring on the paint. So that's where you want to add lubrication, either in the form of a drying aid when you're going to dry your vehicle, or in the form of a foam cannon. So a lot of people say, foam cannon is just for the show. No, not in my opinion. You add a lot of lubrication by foaming your vehicle beforehand, again, to help encapsulate and lift the dirt off the surface, and always in an effort to minimize the chances of getting swirls and scratches. So the safer you are, the safer the techniques, the better your car is going to look over time.
Especially for me, someone who loves a black car, it's like the hardest color to keep clean and detailed.
Yeah. It's beautiful when it's fully detailed,
When
right?
it
But
is,
I would never own a black car because my OCD would not allow me to sleep at night. I would go nuts every time I see a little tiny scratch.
Yeah, it's difficult. I have to look away sometimes, especially when it rains. Oh, it looks really nice. It's beading, and the next day it's like covered in sand.
Exactly.
You're like, I haven't got time to wash it right. I'm not just going to look away.
Yep.
So with the development of products we've seen in our lifetime, we've had, natural waxes, natural carnauba waxes, and then we've had synthetic waxes. We've had sealants. SiO2 is now a big thing. You've got ceramic coatings, and then we've got graphene with coatings. Yep. We seem to, every little year or two, there's like anything like phones, there's a little development, takes up a notch. Do you feel from your experience that we're at the top? We can't really there isn't much room, or, is NASA going to come out with something that's like, UV radioactive protectant? It's like, like how far do you feel like we can go?
We definitely have not reached the pinnacle. I know all the brands I talk with continuously work on new innovations. And like you said, in the beginning, we had those traditional carnauba waxes. Before that, we even had beeswax. So kind of a modified organic protection again on vehicles. And so if we were stuck in the 1950s, we wouldn't have all this innovation. So luckily the chemists are hard at work, and they're always understanding new technologies. Like in the 1980s, when the clear coat came out for the vehicle, this was a new substrate to work with for companies. And they understood that over time, you need UV blockers in there, but those UV blockers are usually in the top part of that coating or that clear coat. And the clear coat naturally diminishes over time. So you're losing that protective technology. Hence why we apply waxes, sealants, or coatings. And so eventually they realized that traditional carnauba waxes only typically last 1 to 3 months. They're not very durable because it's a natural ingredient in plants from Brazil, right? The carnauba plants, to protect themselves from the UV rays, and kind of a natural way to have a water hydrophobics on their leaves. And so that led on to chemists developing synthetic paint sealants. So 4 to 6 months durability on average. So a synthetic man-made formula that had a bit more resistance and durability, but didn't have quite the gloss or natural shine or warmth of a carnauba wax. Hence why a lot of people combine both. So base layer of a sealant, top coat of a wax. But then people wanted more and more durability. They wanted protection against UV rays. They wanted more gloss, more slickness. They wanted better hydrophobic properties. They didn't want to clean their cars as much, or at least make the cars easier to wash during maintenance washes. So these self-cleaning properties came along. A lot of people, by the way, think self-cleaning properties means the vehicle cleans itself. No, what that means is that it's easier to wash, during maintenance washes. And so ceramic coatings about 5 or 6 years ago came about, at least in the car detailing industry, because in the industry of pipelines and a bunch of other industrial industries, they were using coatings for a while. So ceramic coatings became a thing, and initially people thought it was snake oil, but we kind of found out it was the best form of protection, at least as far as I'm concerned. And that led to the past year or two with an even stronger innovation for graphene. Why graphene? Well, because one of the only downfalls of ceramic coatings were they were more prone to water spotting. So they had great slickness, great UV protection, great gloss, great hydrophobics, self-cleaning properties, chemical resistance, pH 2, 3 to all the way up to pH 11 or 12. Some even resist the entire pH range, 0 to 14.
Wow.
So, but people were noticing that they were getting water spotting issues. So because they're so hydrophobic, when the water droplets, they evaporate in the sun, they leave behind water mineral deposits, and those mineral deposits can etch through the clear coat and leave those etchings. So they had to find a way to alleviate that. And so they came out with toppers or top coats. So that's why you usually apply a ceramic coating with a topper, but graphene coatings, at least the initial offerings, the purpose behind that is to reduce the surface temperature and to have better hydrophobic properties, to dissipate the heat and the water, to have less of those water spots. Now, that doesn't mean that it's 100% protected against water spots, but you're supposed to reduce that by a lot. So there's still a lot of room for improvement, because we're seeing more and more products now become a 1-layer product, which I absolutely love, because we were seeing 2 to 3 layers. Some companies even have like 5, 6, 10 layers of a coating. That's
puts you off, I think.
Exactly. And
1
then
2 layers, I think, is fine. But if
1 or 2,
that,
exactly. That's what I like. And ideally, you want to have as less maintenance as possible. So still to this day, ceramic coatings and graphene coatings, the majority of them at least, need some form of a topper or maintenance every 2 to 3 months to keep the peak performance going. So I think the future is going to be a 1-layer product, 0 maintenance, and that can last forever. So that is, I think, a challenge. Nobody has came up with it, right? We see 5 to 7 year coatings right now, but we don't see lifetime coatings that are truly there, at least haven't been promised, and that have no downfalls and no negative points to them.
It's like
so that's
chasing a
why
unicorn,
I say we haven't reached the pinnacle yet, because there's a lot
There's always
of
something.
headroom still. And we want them easier to apply, right? Because we still have the majority of the coatings, except the recent one I put on my own Porsche that requires only 1 hour of curing time. The majority of coatings need 24 hours to 48 hours of curing before exposed to water or rain, and then another week before you wash them. But for professional detailers, well, that 24 hours of curing time, that's kind of a hassle, because, well, you might want to turn around your vehicle. You might not have a big shop with real estate to allow that car to be parked there for a long time. And the customer needs to have the best performing. So you want to make sure it's not exposed to rain or water.
It's a loss of revenue,
you have to come up with products that are easier and easier to use, don't have infrared curing lamps, for example, or don't need long curing times. And also perhaps in a spray form, because sprays right now, they'll typically last 5 to 12 months on average. So we haven't reached the spray form yet that can last for 3 to 4 or 5 years. So again, another place where they can improve is make it easier for the average consumer to grab a product that will last a lot more than 6 months. So we're far from having reached the pinnacle, guaranteed. We're not even close to scratching the surface, I believe.
Last question, but we won't answer this. We'll leave this for people to answer in the comments. I think it's from my wife. Is how long is acceptable to clean your car? In my opinion, I think it's all day. It has to be all day.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's open. Actually, I'd be curious to see what your viewers have to say. They can leave a comment.
That would be good.
I never set a time limit. So obviously, if you're doing this in a professional setting, you have to be efficient, because there's money at the end of the day. So you're not going to spend 15 hours for something that would take an hour, right?
No.
But if you're doing this as a hobbyist or as an enthusiast, or you're doing it for yourself, I never set a time limit. If it takes 4 hours, it takes 4 hours. If it takes a whole day, it's going to take a whole day. It doesn't matter. You put on your tunes, you enjoy listening to the music, you have fun doing it, and forget about setting a time. Our girlfriends need to understand that. Hopefully, I'm lucky again. Mine fully understands me. She knows when I'm in the garage, she can forget me for the next couple of hours, right?
I'll let the wife know. No, she's really supportive, and I wouldn't be doing half of this if it wasn't for her. She just doesn't want to hear about it.
When you see your spouse or your loved one having a good time and a smile, I think, you know what, just let them do what they enjoy. As long as it doesn't hamper on the time you spend with your family, your children, your girlfriend, you should have some time to give to your hobbies. It's super important to be happy and to have these things going that'll bring a smile to your face and allow you to decompress and release that stress that daily life just gives to you.
Well, so I think we'll wrap it up there. I know you've got other things to do today. You're a busy man, so I really appreciate.
You're a great host, man. This was awesome,
thanks.
Super fun talk. We could talk forever. I'm sure.
I know, really could.
We could go on for hours, right?
Book a day off and go for it. So I just really want to thank you for your time.
My pleasure, Ben.
For your insight, for your knowledge, and all my viewers, I want you to subscribe to Pan and follow him, get his tips and tricks, and.
Hopefully I'll see you with new videos soon too. You gotta keep on that YouTube game. Let's do it.
And anyone who's not subscribed to my channel, click the subscribe button, leave a comment below, hit the thumbs up, and we'll sign off there. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye, guys.